So what I want to talk about, what we want this show to be about is energy independence for Fitchburg, and what our current state of our energy supply and distribution, and what we can do and what we are doing working towards the future, towards energy independence, but not just as a municipality, but also for our individual residences. So I know that, we have the Muni-Choice bill, municipal choice bill,
Yeah, that's right.
that you co-authored.
I sponsor, right?
Yeah.
I'm the lead sponsor, right?
Right, and that has been submitted to the House multiple times.
That's been filed, we're working on 12 or 13 or maybe even 14 years. Prior to me being the lead sponsor, Representative Jay Kaufman from Lexington was filing it, or had filed it for, as I said, at least 10 years.
Yeah.
So I've taken it over. Jay and I worked on it together. He's kind of moved on with other interests, and so I've taken it over since then. So I've filed it the last 4 years.
Yeah.
I've been the lead sponsor on it.
In 2011 was the last time that it was filed?
No, we file every year.
Every single year?
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
initial filing and there's refile, and you just go about that every
And
year.
does it get voted on every year?
Well, it goes to committee.
It goes to committee.
It goes to the Telecom, Utilities, and Energy Committee.
Uh-huh.
And that's when you, as the lead sponsor, the term is shepherding. You need to pay attention and get it heard in a public hearing. And that's what happens each year.
Shepherding.
So the difficulty is in getting it out of committee to the next stage in the process, which ultimately ends up going to the floor for a vote.
Has the
That's the
municipal choice gone to
No.
the floor for a vote?
No, it is not.
Mm.
If it did, I would likely predict that it would pass.
Yeah.
It's that there's
That
resistance
bottleneck.
there's resistance on the part of leadership in the Senate, in the House, for a few reasons. Some good, some specious, I think. But that's the difficulty: is getting it to move beyond. The concern being, this is the public concern. The concern is that it would burden communities. Yet, language in
They
the bill.
take on more debt than
Well,
they
that's
can
right.
handle?
That's right. But again, incorporated in the language of the bill clearly states that it requires the voting public, two consecutive votes, to agree to go ahead with this. To explore what it would take to basically purchase the infrastructure of DiNatale.
At fair market rate.
Right, which
as
is
defined
determined-
by the Department of Public
Public
Utilities.
utilities would determine that, along with, I think, the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission has a hand in that as well. So that's how it would work.
So backing up just to a broad overview of what the municipal choice bill would actually accomplish. And so right now we have DiNatale, who owns all of the infrastructure for the
Right.
distribution of electrical power
Right,
to our homes.
right.
And we don't have the option to, we could propose that we purchase the infrastructure from DiNatale, but they don't have any, they don't have to sell to us.
That's right. That's the existing legislation,
Right.
which I might add is coming up to 100 years old. That legislation, I think it was probably filed in 1919, I believe it was.
What would you think the original aim of that
Well, the
legislation
original aim was, when you think of how we had, as communities, we had our electrical power, it was consolidated in downtown areas. So what the legislation says is it's not necessary for you to take over the infrastructure of that utility. Again, thinking in terms of 1919.
Right.
There were probably a half a dozen poles downtown area of whatever town or city in the Commonwealth.
Mm-hmm.
And what the legislation says then was, all you have to do is put your own poles up. Doesn't require you to take the existing utilities
Right.
hardware. You can put your own up. Well, think about how impractical that would be today.
Yeah. Now that it's
everywhere.
grown.
Exactly.
It would
It's
be
huge.
completely unfeasible
That's right.
unless we start talking about solar energy independence from the grid.
Okay, now, that, I understand where you're going with that. So everybody in Fitchburg gets a solar array on their roof,
Okay?
okay? You would think that would provide us with independence from Unitil. What's the problem with that?
Well, we have solar residential net metering
Well,
caps.
you've got to tie into the grid.
Yes,
You've got to use their infrastructure to do that.
right?
They're a delivery company. They're not a supply company. It still would be a burden on the city because they would still be technically delivering the power.
Right.
So.
As long as you're feeding back into the grid.
Right.
So
So you're talking about solely just powering your house?
if you could solely just power your house.
Yeah, I'm not sure that the tax credits would add into that and things like that. So that's a little more complicated, but
Yep. So
that might
where-
be a problem.
So how would we be able to, because in the future, because that's how it's going. That's how the world
Yeah.
is going. Solar arrays on every roof,
Yeah,
and even there's talk of a few years down the road, they'll be able to have battery packs, eventually power walls in either every home to be able to store that
Yeah.
solar energy for
Yeah.
when it's a cloudy day or
it's
a series of cloudy days.
it is a political issue. I mean, it's clearly tied in with politics.
With
Yeah.
money.
Well, and that's part of it as well. The lobbying concerns for the investor-owned utilities, and there are 4 in the state.
For
4
investor,
investor-owned utilities.
for profit, publicly
Well, they're
traded,
publicly owned, publicly
investor
public.
owned.
That's right. The board of directors, and that's right, and they're
Their goal is to
regulated.
make profits
Well,
for their
they're
investors.
regulated by DPU, so everything that they do has to go through DPU, as evidenced by the hearings that we're having.
Right.
We have another one next week. So they have to go through DPU for those rate increases. Now, what I have been proposing, along with the Muni-Choice bill, this is the only way you're going to be satisfied with what we've got with Unitil and to somehow free ourselves from them. One is we've got to stop purchasing power on the market, on the bulk market at 6-month intervals. We've got to extend it to 1 to 2 years.
The supply
The
portion.
supply side of it. And that's what Unitil does. We need to have them extend that, not just them, but all the investor-owned utilities. I think that's part of what we need to do. The Muni-Choice bill is the second thing. The third thing that we need to do, the third component to it, is that we have to, when they go before DPU for a rate increase, they usually identify where that rate increase is going to be used. We need more money for vegetation removal, trimming trees. We need more for replacing transformers,
But do they
wires.
have accountability for that?
Exactly. We need to incorporate legislatively a post-audit process that goes in afterwards and says, okay, we granted you X number of dollars. We want to see that that was in fact what it was used for.
Instead,
We want it
because
verified.
we've been seeing 24% profit.
Well, we don't know what happens
increase over
after
the year.
that. We don't know what happens after that. So that's something that I think we need to look at as well. And again, the resistance is huge. It's huge. And that political piece of it is a reality. We can sit here and say, and I know it's been said, I'm
We're gonna
pledging to
get
get rid of Unitil. Well, that's wonderful. I would applaud that. Let me know how. I was just on the phone with the Attorney General's lead person in energy
Yep.
this morning. And we talked about that. He said, it's not that simple. You simply can't wish them away. I wish it were that simple. Again, publicly traded corporation who is regulated by the Department of Public Utilities. You can't just wake up one morning and say, we want you gone.
Well, I have heard an argument that the city council can vote twice to remove Unitil. Now,
Absolutely false.
so
There's no basis in fact that
I haven't been
whatsoever.
able to find any
And what,
Any information on that to back that up? But,
you'll never find any information on
but
it.
could that be in reference to the supply portion
Could
of
be.
DiNatale?
Could be.
Because we can purchase our
But you can do
supply.
that anyway.
Could our,
You don't need the city council for that. You yourself.
in the municipal sense, I'm just trying to
Oh.
figure out where
Well, no,
that statement could come
they
from.
would have to vote on that.
They would
have
vote
to agree.
to,
For instance, aggregation.
yes,
Aggregation, bringing in power at a cheaper rate.
right,
Unfortunately, the discounted rate is not a heck of a lot of money.
because the
The
money
same.
is in the distribution
Right.
through the infrastructure that DiNatale owns.
Yeah. So that could be where that came from. The
The
council
power
would have to
side-
agree to go with an aggregate company, to another company. And that's,
And that would take two city, maybe that's,
I don't even know if it would take two. I don't think it would take two votes. I think one vote of the city council. But it's not that complicated. It's a whole different issue.
right,
It's the supply side of things.
which is negligible savings.
It's not Unitil's job is not supply. They're delivery. They're a company that gets that power to you in your home.
Which is why we
Or
have
your
the
business.
choice of supply like
Right.
Clearview
You as a homeowner,
Energy.
you could purchase your power from anybody.
Right,
Anybody you'd like. Well, isn't that what
Clearview Energy,
Clearview is
they've
doing?
been
Yeah,
going
that's
around.
right. Sure.
And
Yeah.
they would sell you their
Yeah.
supply
Yeah.
portion.
And what you need to gauge is how much of a savings is there. And you can get out of that agreement at any time. There's no tricks to it.
Yeah.
But it takes a little work on your part, and then again, those rates sometimes fluctuate.
Yep.
So you may go with Clearview, and then you find out if you stayed with the other provider, it would have saved you some money. Who knows? It's like the stock market. You're playing with the stock market.
But you're playing the stock market with a very small margin.
Yeah, and that's right. There isn't.
The
You're
bulk
not
of
gonna.
it
Right.
it's
Right.
not affecting the bulk.
The city looked at aggregation back about 7 or 8 years ago. Matter of fact, they brought the company in. It was a company out of Shrewsbury, I think it was. I think the savings to the consumer was literally a cent.
That's not much.
Not much.
And did we have to spend money?
And it was the individual now. And no, it wasn't worth. People were saying, you know what? The savings wasn't significant enough for the city to say, let's do it.
Right.
It really wasn't. It might have changed since then.
Hmm.
That was a while ago. I don't know what the market
7
looks
years?
like now. Yeah,
Energy costs.
right. But
But
the city council cannot vote to remove Unitil. God, I wish it was that simple.